Hello, everyone. Happy Monday. I hope you all had a great weekend. I got a bunch of snow where I live, almost 2 feet, so that is super exciting. Winters are long. I live in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and sometimes winters get long, but I'm like, if it's going to be winter, it might as well snow because it makes it a lot more fun. So I got to do some snowboarding this past weekend, and yeah, I'm really excited for more. Awesome. So I hope that you enjoyed your weekend too. Today, I want to talk about my client Andrew and how he went from sleeping poorly since age 14 to then sleeping great in just a few months. And Andrew is a young, busy lawyer as well. He's one of the youngest clients I've worked with. He was 24 when we worked together. Um, and he was a busy he was very busy. You know how much lawyers have to work, especially when they are first starting out. But he had been sleeping poorly since he was 14 years old, so since he was a teenager, and it kind of kept deteriorating over the years to where it was taking him 9 hours to being in bed just to get 5 to 6 hours of sleep. So you can probably relate to this. If you're awake for a long period of time in the night or taking forever to fall asleep, you're spending a lot longer in bed than you are actually sleeping. And in the past year before we started working together, his sleep had deteriorated even more. So he was only getting 4 to 5 hours a night. And he was ready for a change because he's spending all this time in bed. He doesn't have a lot of time to spend just trying to get enough sleep to function. Now, he also had stomach issues and he worried about sleep all the time, which is normal when you've gone 10 years without sleeping well. So we ran the lab test and found out he had super high cortisol at bedtime, which explained why he was awake, right? Like we shouldn't be releasing cortisol at bedtime because cortisol gives us energy and makes our mind race and increases our heart rate and blood pressure and body temperature. So it's pretty much the opposite of relaxation, right? It's the body releases cortisol to wake us up for the day and also to respond to stressful situations where we need energy. So we don't want high cortisol at bedtime. He also was reacting to certain foods. His liver wasn't working optimally, so he wasn't detoxing well. And he had pathogens in his gut, specifically H. pylori, which is a bacteria that lives in the stomach that I see in 85 to 90% of our clients, and candida, which is a type of yeast that feeds on sugar and it also feeds on bigger infections like H. pylori and parasites. And for it to show up on a stool test means that there is a massive infection. And candida is really toxic. It produces this chemical toxin called acetaldehyde that causes a lot of inflammation in the body. So all of these things were explaining why he wasn't sleeping. Pathogens and liver dysfunction were explaining why he was having a hard time falling asleep and then was awake for a long time in the middle of the night. So we started off, I recommended that he avoid the foods he's sensitive to temporarily and a few supplements for liver, mineral, and gut support. And so he started by making diet changes, and this was really hard for him at first. He was from Minnesota, so he ate a lot of dairy, especially cheese. And unfortunately, his test showed that he was sensitive to dairy. But within a few days of doing that, his stomach felt better, like back to normal. And he had stomach issues for years. He just didn't know that why. He didn't know that it was related to what he was eating, especially dairy. Within just a few weeks, he started sleeping so much better. And by the time we had been working together for a couple months, he went on vacation and he even slept well on vacation when he used to sleep worse while traveling, which I'm sure a lot of you experience as well. So in just a few months of working together, he was sleeping 7 hours a night, and he still is. And even better, he has more energy. He actually has more time because he isn't spending all these hours in bed not sleeping, right? So now he can be in bed 7 hours to get 7 hours of sleep, whereas before he's spending 9 hours in bed. So he has an extra 2 hours in his day to do other things. And he doesn't worry about sleep anymore, which is awesome. So I interviewed him for my podcast, and that video is available on my website as well. It's really inspiring video. He's a great guy, and it was so great to be able to help him so quickly. Um, so I just want you to know that this is possible for you too. I think he's a great example of someone who has been struggling since childhood, really, right? Like since his teenage years. And some of my clients come to me that it's been that long. And he's also very young. So he was, like I said, one of my youngest clients, but it had still been 10 years of struggling for him. But he was able to improve and sleep better in just a few months, even after having sleep issues for 10 years. So I just want you to know that's what's possible for you too. Like there's no reason why you also can't sleep well even if you're older, even if you've been dealing with sleep issues for a long time. And I'm actually going to talk about one of my clients, Peter, in a couple of days, who was in his late 70s when we started working together. And he had amazing success with his sleep. So it's possible at any age. So I'm really proud of Andrew though for reaching out at such a young age and realizing that even though he tried all these things, he wasn't able to figure it out on his own, and that hiring an expert would make the difference. And it totally did for him. And of course, he was also willing to do the changes that were necessary, but for him, it was totally worth it, right? Like it's not easy to have to give up dairy when that's something that you're used to eating all the time. But my perspective is, yeah, it might not be fun to give up dairy. It's also not fun to not sleep and be tired all the time and your stomach hurts all the time. And like for me, I would rather give up dairy for a period of time and let the gut heal, restore your gut health. And it doesn't mean that you necessarily have to give up dairy forever. So, but it is something that is required. We're probably going to ask you or recommend making some diet changes, maybe making some habit changes. But my clients are excited to do those things, even if they're hard, because it's going to result in better sleep and more energy and more time in their life and their stomach issues finally being gone. So yeah, it's up to you of what you think is is less fun. So he worked with us in the Complete Sleep Solution program, which is my 6-month private coaching program that includes the analysis of 4 lab tests and assessments, 6 months of support with bi-weekly coaching calls. So you meet with your coach twice a month for 6 months. You also get chat support between those calls. So it's a very comprehensive program that's looking at everything that could be causing your sleep issues. So for Andrew, if we had just looked at, the pathogens in his gut, but he didn't also change his diet, he probably wouldn't have gotten better. And so it's really important to be looking at everything that is causing your sleep issues. And that's how you restore your health as quickly and easily as possible so that you start sleeping and feeling better as quickly as possible. So if that is something you are interested in, the first step is to book a consultation with me. So we will talk about what's going on with your sleep, what's going on with your health, what other symptoms you're experiencing, and I'll be able to pinpoint what's been missed so far. Because I'm sure you've tried lots of different things and nothing has really worked. And it doesn't mean you can't get better. It just means that something has been missed. So I'll be able to look at everything that's going on for you and what you've tried so far and tell you why those things haven't worked and what's missing and how I will make sure that nothing is missed and how the Complete Sleep Solution program will help you figure out the imbalances in your body that are affecting your sleep, help with the mental part, any worry, anxiety about sleep as well, general stress in your life, and give you a plan to get everything back in balance at the same time so that you start sleeping and feeling better as soon as possible. All right, everyone. Thanks for listening, and I will see you tomorrow.